good morning, good afternoon, good evening guys, gals and gentlebuds, and welcome back to the shed. Obviously we're in the workshop. Here's Morty. Now we've moved her onto the big lift so that I can get underneath, get her up in the air and get underneath and have a proper look, see what's going on with this floor pan. It's a little bit sketchy putting Morty on this lift because she's quite narrow and the lift is quite wide. But as long as I've got half a tyre on either side, I think we're good to go. So let's get underneath and have a look and see how bad the damage is. Right, so this is the underside of the floor pan, and we've got holes there, 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 there. It's a bit crusty, there's another hole there. So this is the main chassis rail, such as it is. So I've got this area here, this area here, and this area here that need repairing on that. So what I intend to do is cut the floor pan out along that line, the back, leaving this rail. Obviously, I would guess there's going to be spot welds, the floor pan spot welded to this, so I need to find those and drill those out, and then cut the pan out from above. And then we can see about making a new panel. My one problem is I don't have any means of putting these stiffening ribs in to the new floor pan, but I have a crafty solution. I have a cunning plan for that, which I'll show you a bit later if it works. For now, let's get to the inside and start getting it cut out. Right, so I've rattled and battered it and got rid of most of the loose grot. So there's a big hole there, 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 right down there at the front. There's that grotty patch down here, there's a hole here. So it's that bit down there, that's on top of the chassis rail. That is actually the hole in the chassis rail itself, and that there. So all of that needs taking out, and that as well. So it's pretty crusty. So I think it's time to get the cutting gear out. Yeah, there's still quite a lot of crusty paintwork and rust on this floor pan that I want to get rid of before I start cutting. It'll give me a better idea of what I'm against, and I can find the seams to cut along easier, and hopefully the spot welds to drill out. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit it with this. It's quite noisy. It's a needle scaler, so eye protection. So there we are, as you can see. This, I've managed to get that patch off there. It's gone there, here, 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 here. There is almost more hole than floor, and that chassis rail is pretty ropey. There's huge holes there, 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 there. So I need to get this floor pan out, get that off there, and then I can see what I can do about repairing that before I can do the floor pan. Now I've decided that I'm going to make my own floor pan for it. The only things I can't realistically do is these indents, floor stiffeners, but I have a cunning plan for that. More of that a bit later on. First things first, I need to get that cut out now. Now I've got a variety of cutting options open to me. I could cut it out with a plasma cutter, but I would cut through the chassis rail there and there, which I don't want to do. I can cut it with an angle grinder, which will probably be the tool for some of the job, and I've got a small cut-off air-powered grinder, which I shall use for a lot of it because it's a nice small compact unit. I need to establish where the spot welds are. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I can find the spot welds, I can drill those out with this. a spot weld saw. So it's just a tiny hole saw. All you do is find the spot weld, centre pop the middle of the spot weld. That pin is spring loaded, so you locate that in your spot and drill down, and it cuts around the outside of the spot weld. So I think the next thing I need to do is just get a little sander in and see if I can establish where all of the spot welds are down there. Going to be a bit noisy again. Right, so I can see quite a few spot welds there. And find the centre of the spot weld. Sometimes like in this case, you've got an uneven surface around the spot, it's not on a flat piece. It pays just to improve the spot slightly with a small drill. Quite a reasonable job on that, so I'll crack on and drill as many of the rest as I can, and then we can get the grinder in and see about cutting the rest of the pan out. I'll come back to you in a bit. One small point, I did mention this before, watch where sparks are going, especially with glass, because the sparks off the grinder will be red hot. If they hit the glass, they'll burn into it and ruin your windscreen. Right, so after a couple of hours of cutting, grinding, drilling, the floor pan is now gone, and that's the chassis rail, which is pretty poorly in a few places. I think what I'm going to do is cut a square out there and cut a new patch in for that, and this I'm going to do from there to here, the full width, so I'll cut that out and weld a new piece in. I'm not going to bother with that hole. I don't think it's going to add anything to it. So first things first, if I go 300mm that way, 135 wide, and then that should make a nice patch for that, plate for that. Cut that rot out, weld a new piece in altogether, and then I'll cut a new piece in at that front end. So 300 by 135. Let's go mark up some steel. So I've got a piece of steel. It's not very square, so the first thing we need to do is square it up. Oh, it's actually not as bad as I thought, but we will square that up. So 300 by 135. When you're marking steel, or aluminium for that matter, any sheet metal, if you're using a scriber, it pays to do it as an arrow, because then the point is where you're measuring to. Not so easy to get a perfectly straight edge with that, but it's quick. Do need to watch where these little horseshoe cutouts go though, because they will be razor sharp. Well, that's got my plate cut anyway. Right, so there we are. So if I just mark around that with a black marker. If I cut to the inside edge of that black line, I can then butt weld that in. That'll do the job nicely. In fact, what I think I might do is we'll butt weld this edge I think if I bring that 10mm or so this way, I can joddle along that edge and have a nice lap joint at the front there, which will be nice and strong. There's not enough good metal down the edges to do a joddled lap weld, so it'll have to be butt welded along here. That should do the job nicely. Yep. Right, time to get cutting. Right, safety squints on, gloves, brace yourself mother, I'm going in. Right, well I've got all my Saturday night pulling gear on again. So my leather coat, my full head shield, air pack, gloves. So that means it's either Saturday night and I'm going out on the pull, or it's time to do some welding. Gas on, safety squint down. Right, so that's the top side of that done. Just needs dressing down so that we've got a flat surface for the floor pan to go on. That's the next bit, that hole up in the corner, and then when I've got that welded from the top, I'll take her up in the air and weld it all from underneath so it's nice and strong. And then we can see about making a floor pan for it. Progress. Right, so I've cut and shaped another plate, cut out the rot at the front end of that chassis leg. So it's time to get the safety squints on and glue it all together. Right, so that's the chassis rail repaired. They're all fully welded top and bottom. They just need dressing back a little bit with the grinder, and then a coat of weld through primer. I'll be using weld through because when I put the floor pan in, as I did with the boot floor, I will put holes through that I can plug weld through the floor onto that panel, onto that rail. Right, well that's about it for today. So I've cut the old floor pan out, got rid of all the rot, cut the rot out of the chassis rail, welded in new steel, so that's all good. Just got to dress those welds down so that the floor pan will sit down flush on it. Shape, make the new floor pan and weld that in. That'll be in the next video. I think that's a fair day's work for today, half day. So hope you found this interesting, possibly helpful. Hit the like and subscribe, as all good YouTubers ask you to, and I'll see you in the next video.